And there was a photo of a man dressed in her underwear.
What?
I would say Kenyan stick, at least $2.
Yeah, you're right.
Want to know how much my mom paid for this stick?
$10.
$40. Really thought I was gonna die of like hypothermia.
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. So you're on top of Mount Fuji now, right?
Yeah.
And you can't get back down.
Any house where someone has died is so cheap.
People over there, they're like, literally speak every single language you can imagine.
Bro, like you're paying the foreigner tax. That's crazy though. They had sneakers in the hut.
Because a lot of people do jump in front of trains there.
Okay, so you basically take strangers to your house for free.
I had a guy request to stay with me.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 5 of the iKONIC podcast. Connor with me, of course. We got our good friend Amber. We figured she'd be an awesome guest for the podcast because between the three of us, we've probably somehow already hit like 100 countries around the world. So we figured this would be a good episode to do some of those travel stories, travel type of conversation. So what do you guys think? You guys ready for a banger episode?
Hell yeah.
Let's get this rolling. And actually, today we're coming to you with a new format for our podcast, which is What Would You Rather? We prepared 5 questions for Amber.
Oh God.
Of course, she wasn't notified about that beforehand, so it's gonna be a surprise for her. And let me start with the first question. Try to answer, without too much explanation, just like one word, okay?
Okay.
Try to be like quick with it, but if you need to think about it, like that's totally fine.
All right.
The first question. We're gonna start with the simpler ones, and we're gonna go progressively worse.
This sounds great.
Okay, so the first one, just to get you started, red wine or white wine?
Red wine.
Red wine, okay. Another question. Would you rather get $10 for every good thing you do, or $100 for every bad thing you do?
Ooh. $10 for every good thing I do.
Okay, you're going with the easy answer. The next one. You get infinite money, but you can't leave the state, or you get 10K and you keep living your life as it is.
Infinite money?
Yes, but you cannot leave, let's say, New Jersey, or you get 10K and you keep living your life as it is right now.
So one time 10K. It's
One
not
time
like
10K.
It's not like a salary.
It's never coming back. It's never coming back.
I guess I'll take the 10K. That's hard though.
Actually, what do you think, Nick? What would you choose here? Because I know you love to travel, so.
I'm taking the 10K with Amber. I just love traveling so much that I value it way more than that, to be quite frank.
Maybe if I lived in like Hawaii, I'd take the infinite money,
It'd be
but
different,
this is
right?
New Jersey, so.
The Northeast
Because
sucks.
when you have so much money, but you, like, what are you gonna do? Like, let's say you're gonna live for another 40, 50, 60 years. Like, you can only do so much in like a state, So like at this point, what are you gonna like put it in your pillow or something?
Yeah.
I'm banking on making my own money someday.
Okay, we're going with the question number 4. You get closed in the mall against a cheetah or gorilla, and both are trying to hunt you down. Which one would you rather go against?
The cheetah, easily.
The cheetah?
Yeah.
Okay. And the last question. You are sent to a deserted island. Do you rather live there by yourself or with your biggest enemy? And let's assume that you're never going to be able to escape the island. It's like an apocalyptic scenario.
Man. Probably with my enemy. I can't think of who my biggest enemy is. I don't think I have anyone that I hate that much that I'd rather be alone for the rest of my life. So I guess I'll take the enemy. What about you guys? What would you take?
Honestly,
I feel like you'd live alone.
I 100% would live alone. I really don't mind spending time by myself. So at this point, I wouldn't mind at all. I would maybe even enjoy it.
I agree. I honestly think that's spot on. But I got one question here for Conrad. So, what would you rather have your dead body found with? A bunch of sex toys or drugs? No, listen.
Wow, okay.
There's a story behind that.
Okay. Let me think about that. That's a pretty tough one.
You're going with the sex toys.
Honestly, probably with drugs. I guess it's just a little bit less weird, right? And it depends what kind of...
What kind of sex toys?
So real quick.
Are they like penetrative sex toys for him?
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, no, maybe like the safer option to drugs.
No, so listen. The reason that question came up was because earlier today we were sitting down having coffee. We're like, what are some good questions that we could ask Amber? So we were like reading a bunch of questions online, and we saw that question, and we were thinking about asking you that, and we're like, dude, that's gonna be too weird. But I said, why not? Screw it, I'm just gonna ask him. All right, so one of the reasons we thought Amber would be a fire guest on the podcast is because she did spend quite a bit of time living in Japan. So I was curious to ask you, Amber, like, what do you think about Japanese society as like a Westerner, like living over there? How was it for you?
I mean, honestly, I had a great time. I was really young when I was living there, and I was, partying a lot with my friends and stuff. And I felt like we got away with a lot just because we were Westerners. Like the Japanese people, like were held to like a different standard than we were. People didn't bat an eyelash if we were loud or obnoxious or whatever, like, and stuff like I remember one time I accidentally I left my bike somewhere where I wasn't supposed to, and someone moved it into like a paid parking spot, and I couldn't find my bike for like a week. So when I finally went to pick up the bike, it was like a $300 parking fee or something like that. So I just played dumb, because I'm a Westerner or whatever. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, I didn't know. And they just came and took my bike out for free and gave it back to me. They just felt bad for me.
Let me ask you a question real quick. Is that true that basically there's there's no thieves in there? No one steals anything? You can live whatever you want, anywhere you want, and no one's gonna take it?
Oh my God. Yeah, I actually have kind of a funny story about that. Or it's a weird story. But I had a friend there that he had a friend visiting, and this girl left her suitcase on a train. And here, you leave anything on a train in New York, it's gone in 30 seconds.
That
you'll never see it again.
Or even faster than that.
You'll never see it again. Never see it again. But in Japan, it's 90% of the time, 95% of the time, you get your stuff back. So they told her, just go to the police station and see if someone turned the suitcase in. Mm-hmm. And she went there, and she was actually surprised because no one had turned it in. And they were like, well, give us your contact info just in case it turns up or whatever. And a couple of days later, they actually contacted her, and they're like, the suitcase was turned in. And she looked in the suitcase, everything was there. She didn't think anything of it. And then later, she had her camera in the suitcase. And later she looked, she was looking through the photos on the camera, and there was a photo of a man dressed in her underwear.
What?
Yeah. So somebody took her suitcase.
No way.
Somebody took her
suitcase.
Are you
kidding me?
Took it home, put on her underwear, took photos on her camera of themselves in her underwear, and then just put everything back and then turned the
with the
suitcase.
camera.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Who does that? Who does that?
What?
That's honestly, I feel like that's a real Japan story, because there's some there's some weird.
but I heard Japan is weird like that. You literally have people on the train reading hentai, right, or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And with all this dolls that the older guy even get married to them, or they buy them to have sex with them. It's weird,
that's
right?
That's a big business out
there.
They're
Actually
right?
I at least, I don't know, I haven't lived there in a really long time, but I remember at the time they were trying to promote young people to have sex because the population is declining in Japan. It's going up everywhere else in the world basically, but in Japan the population is declining, so they're trying to they were trying to incentivize
people to pop out babies.
And why do you think why do you think is that
it's a very elderly population too, so that's why people just aren't having kids. I don't know if it's because of AI and stuff like that, the sex dolls and robots.
I told Conrad, hold on a second, I have to throw this in there. I told Conrad, you heard it here first on the iKONIC podcast, that one day people are going to be dating robots, even getting connected to those chatbots online. You think that I'm kidding? So many people, they're talking to computers, and it's
And I feel this generation.
What have we come to?
This generation that's coming up now is even less social than
They're born with an
You know what I
iPad
mean?
in
Like-
their hand and TikTok.
Dude,
Exactly,
literally. You see
so-
2-year-old kids already with the iPads watching, playing, like not listening to anything else. It's crazy.
people are uncomfortable, in social scenarios, so it's going to be easier for them to just have a robot girlfriend or whatever. And I feel like Japanese people in general are more reserved than we are. They're less social.
I mean, honestly,
or more introverted.
anyone's more reserved than American people.
I mean, I
Pretty
have to agree
much,
with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Amber, like one more question for you. Actually, I read that in Japan they have vending machines where you are able to buy used underwear. Is that actually true?
So I never saw it while I was there, but yeah, supposedly that is a thing.
Why, Conrad? You in the business for some?
No, but I know you wanted it, so I figured I would recommend it to you.
Give me a
I
gift.
did find like a sex dungeon in my neighborhood.
Oh shit!
Which was like at like a construction site or whatever. Like it was like an abandoned building that I don't know if they were going to turn it into something or whatever, but a friend of mine happened across this one day, and you go down and there were just all these vending machines full of porn and whatnot. I didn't see any used underwear, but like
Really?
it was really sketchy because there were like a bunch of like cigarette butts down there. Like I'm pretty sure people were like just enjoying the covers of the magazines
Oh my
and like
God.
hanging
That's
out
crazy.
there. You know what I mean? Like
Enjoying the covers of the magazine.
Fuck it, why not?
without having to purchase one. Because it's very like secluded too. Like you could easily have some private time in a place like that.
You take it to the bathroom and do whatever you gotta do.
Exactly.
You know what, guys? Like, actually, another weird thing that I heard about Japan is they literally have people called pushers. So, like, they are being hired by subways, and there's like during peak hours in Japan, there's so many people like trying to get into the subway. So they literally have people pushing people into the subway.
They use a stick. They
Yeah.
have like a pole that this is like Tokyo, prime time, like rush hour in Tokyo. I never saw this. I lived in Osaka. I never saw this around there.
I was
But
gonna ask which city you lived
like-
in. You know who does it even more boss than them? The Indians. You ever see how they're like surfing on the trains?
They,
They're
like,
the
hang
real life.
from the
They're
outside
the
of the
real life
trains.
subway
Oh
surfers,
my
dude.
God,
I'm not
dude.
even kidding.
So like in Mumbai or other big cities, right?
Yeah, it's insane, dude.
When you said pushers, I thought you meant like push people in front of the trains at first. I was like,
Maybe that too. I don't know.
you know what's weird about that? Like one thing I remember learning while I was over there, because a lot of people do jump in front of trains there. They have a pretty high suicide rate in
They
Japan.
do,
and
right? I've heard
one
that.
of the things, like they like to jump in front of trains to commit suicide as like a fuck you to like the system, like because it's such a punctual, organized society, and as like I guess as like a big screw you to the system, they figure if they jump in front of the train, they're gonna delay the train.
That's crazy.
And that's like gonna mess up the whole schedule for the day and everything. But what's even crazier than
What the
that
hell?
is that there's certain train lines that have more suicides than others because the family gets fined if you jump in front of a train.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, this is what I heard. I don't have a source for this or anything like that. But
yo, so somebody left a comment. I told you guys I was rolling. It was under one of the short videos, and it was like, source, trust me, bro.
you're going to have to trust me on that one too. But I remember like the JR Japan Rail line in particular was like, I think it was cheaper than some of the other ones. So like
So if you were like
you wouldn't want to have to ride
Yeah.
JR because there were a lot more suicides on that line because
what do you think about that, Conrad?
Dude, that's...
Don't they also have like the suicide forest in Japan?
Yeah.
Isn't that
I
also
heard
like
that,
a
yes.
thing?
that's like at
Yeah.
the base of Mount Fuji. What's
Wait.
it called? It starts with an A. It's like
Oh, I don't know.
I'm not sure, honestly.
But didn't you tell me like a story about Mount Fuji one time?
I climbed Mount Fuji. Yeah, I actually I went to like a beach party the night before because I'm really, really responsible, and it was like an all-night party. And
Why wouldn't you?
the night before climbing Mount Fuji, right? And I had a bus to catch in the morning, and I like didn't get home until like maybe like half an hour before I had to catch the bus, and naturally I hadn't packed or anything like that, so I had to like hurry up and throw my bag together. And I made it on the bus, and I realized I forgot my sneakers. Of all things to forget to climb a mountain, I forgot hiking
some
shoes.
quality hiking shoes, yeah.
Yeah, I was wearing flip-flops still from the beach. So
I thought you were going to say you did it barefoot.
might have been a better idea than what ended up happening, but we got there and the mall didn't open up until like 10 o'clock in the morning. So we got a super late start. You're supposed to start, most people start climbing from the 5th station, which is like halfway up the mountain. You can climb from the base of the mountain, but most people start at 5th station, and it's like about a 6-hour hike, and there's different little stations as you go up. I think the last one is like 9th station or something like that, and you can like stop and like get a snack or a drink or whatever, and you can stay in the cabins at each station. You can stop and spend the night, because the reason why most people climb Mount Fuji is for the sunrise view. So most people get up at like 3-4 o'clock in the morning and and hike up to the summit then.
So you can basically go straight from the party to the summit, right?
Yeah, so I had a late start, and I had called ahead of time to see, to try to get a spot in one of the cabins, and they were like, oh, you can just show up, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
But I got up there so late that they were all closed. Like, you couldn't get into the cabins. We were like knocking on the door, so we were just stuck outside, and it started freezing raining. I was wearing yoga pants and like a hoodie.
Really?
It was so cold. There were like vending machines that sell hot drinks there, and I just remembered there was this one that like tasted like a pancake, and I must have bought like 40 of them because I was so cold all night. I really thought I was gonna die of like hypothermia.
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. So you're on top of Mount Fuji now, right?
Yeah.
And you can't get back down.
I could, but it's pitch black.
Yeah, so you're not doing that.
So I'm just like stranded on top of the mountain in the freezing rain. I found a bathroom, and there were all these, basically everyone was American that was in the bathroom. There were like 6 or 7 of them that also like got stranded, and we all just like huddled together for warmth in these this outhouse all night.
That's a hell of a story.
And then in the morning, like the staff, like the hikers came up, at like 3-4 or whatever, and they were trying to get in the bathroom. We were all we're frozen, and they the staff came and like dragged us out of the bathroom.
Oh
Holy
God.
crap, that's crazy.
But yeah, I thought I was gonna die that night. It was so cold.
Question, like in Japan, do a lot of people speak English? Because for example, if you go to Germany, it's like America 2.0. Everyone speaks English, and they even speak better English than we speak in America. So, how is it over in Japan? Is it similar?
No.
Like
Not at all.
I figured as much. I figured as much.
No, I've traveled to Germany and countries like that too, and everybody's like, when I went to Sweden, it was crazy. Like, they spoke better English than we do. But in Japan, most people don't speak well. They're much more comfortable with reading and writing. So if you ever go to Japan and you get into a situation where you need to communicate with someone, the easiest way would be to write it down for them.
Really?
So, I
That's
feel like
crazy.
from what I heard, it's like the same with like South Korea. Maybe the cultures are a little bit similar, but basically people don't even like to speak English on the streets, and like they don't even kind of like foreigners that much, at least in South Korea.
I think it's a shyness thing too, though. They're like embarrassed to speak. But in my experience in South Korea, people spoke better English than in Japan.
Okay.
And I had a friend that taught English in South Korea, and I went to visit him there, and I saw he had his class sing happy birthday to me or whatever, like little kids, and they all made me cards and stuff, and they were definitely more advanced than the kids that I taught in Japan. I feel like South Korea is gonna pass Japan.
Yeah, so you were teaching English in Japan. My question to you is would you recommend that to someone as something to pursue? Because a lot of people do want to travel the world, and I feel like teaching English as a second language, it just opens up so many doors just based on the simple fact that if you're born in America or Australia, for example, places where obviously places where English is the first language, so many other countries will pay a pretty penny to have you teach English to their students.
Yeah.
So would you recommend it?
For sure, yeah. I mean, in my case, I graduated from college and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and I figured it would be a great opportunity to travel, and my company was great. I only had to work 29 hours a week, and I was also allowed to to take on private students or whatever.
I
wasn't like contractually obligated to work only for my company. Some other companies do require you to only work for them, but mine wasn't like that. So I had an awful lot of free time. I made better money teaching private lessons and stuff. But when I was there, the yen was really, really strong. I think it was 80 yen to the dollar at the time, and now it's like 150, I believe. Like the dollar is a lot stronger now than it was back then. So my salary was in yen, and I was just sending it back to my US bank
Were you
account.
making bread?
I'm for like a 20-year-old, yeah.
I'm gonna be real. Like I low key want numbers. Can we get a figure?
It was a long time ago.
Like rough estimate, because I know someone out there at some point in time has been like, hey, like I wonder if like teaching abroad is like the right opportunity for me. So like let's get like the reality, because a lot of times they sugarcoat things.
It's not like it wasn't a lot of money, but like I said, again, I could take private students, and some of the private students would pay like $100 an hour.
Oh wow.
But my company, I think at the time I was probably making like $3,000 a month or something like that, which is.
But for living there, like let's say, how much was your rent at the time?
It was like $500-$600 a month.
One thing that fascinates me, and I've said this, I've told you guys this in the past. Like I've you know how your phone's like listening to you 24/7. I suddenly saw like ads and pages on Facebook popping up for like houses for sale in Japan, and surprisingly they weren't expensive like that. Like of course they have like expensive properties throughout the country, but these were like maybe like $50,000 to $100,000. Like what are you getting for $50,000-$100,000 in the Northeast?
You know, it's a really good
A
hack
shack.
in Japan. Any house where someone has died is so cheap. Like you can get a beautiful home, and Japanese people won't touch it because they're really like kind of superstitious, I guess. Like
That's awesome. I mean, I'm not
had a
awesome,
friend-
but that's
I had a
like I've
friend
never
that-
heard that before.
I had a friend buy a gorgeous house, and I was like, not to be rude, but, and I know what he does for a living. He like runs like a tour group kind of thing. I'm like, not to be rude, but like, how do you afford this house? And he was like, oh, somebody died here, so I got a really good deal.
That's crazy.
That's very
So I don't know if there's like a site or anything like that specifically like you can look up a house where like something like that has happened.
You know, I'm not sure if you know this. If anyone listening to the pod knows about this and can write it down in the comments, I'm curious to know what the process is like if, let's just say, you're an American or a Westerner and you want to buy property in Japan, because it's not like you can just pop up anywhere, buy property, and move in the next day. Like there's a process you have to go through.
Yeah, I don't think it's that easy actually either.
I was gonna say, I'm assuming it's not.
Yeah, no, some countries let you like do it a little bit easier. Let's say like I know Portugal. Let's say if you have like I think like $500,000 to invest, you can just literally buy something and like it's
Not
like,
even.
it's
It
no
was like
problem.
250,000
Yeah,
euros,
something like
something like
that. So
that.
it's like easier, but some of them like it's really like you have to go through like obstacles to be able to like get some property, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, and Japan is a kind of as great of a country as it is, and as warm and welcoming and amazing as the people are, it is somewhat of a xenophobic country as well. Like they're like 99% like ethnically homogenous, like Japanese.
They stick to
and
their kind.
they prefer it that way, I think too. So they don't really make it easy for you to buy property. You also, if you want to be a Japanese citizen, you have to renounce your citizenship. You're not allowed to have
Oh wow.
Dual
I didn't know
citizenship.
You can't have dual Japan. I know
I
that.
say that, and I think that you may technically be allowed, but they strongly discourage you from having dual citizenship. And I don't know if they make it a lot harder for you if you're not willing to renounce your citizenship.
Interesting. Now, this might be a stupid question, but I wonder if Japanese language has like dialects.
Yeah.
It does? Mm-hmm. I'm sure that like the language differs
There
from
was,
like
like,
the north to the
in
south, as
my-
it does pretty much everywhere.
My area is in Osaka, is part of Kansai, which is a region, and Tokyo is part of Kanto, for example, and they have their own dialects. They're called Kansai Ben and Kanto Ben, and every region has their own dialect.
Really?
Okinawa speaks an almost entirely different, like unrecognizable type of Japanese.
Okinawa, now that's an island, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, so let's say if you live in Osaka and let's say you go to Okinawa, like are you able to understand what they're saying?
I haven't been to Okinawa, but I've heard that it's difficult to understand. I'm sure that Japanese people can understand fairly easily, but
Interesting.
I'm trying to think of like maybe that would be like going to like Scotland or something like that, like where it's like a strong brogue
Yep.
or
I guess maybe that
something.
makes sense.
Well, yo, you'd be surprised. I've seen videos of people speaking Scottish English and you can't understand anything.
I have a friend from Scotland that I met when I was living in Spain, and he speaks perfect Spanish, and I always told him, like, can you just speak to me in Spanish because I can't understand your English. Like, we communicate better in
That's
Spanish.
crazy.
Dude, even when I went to Ireland, like when I went to Galway, people were speaking like their English was just so weird. With like such an, I mean, like not weird, like they had such an accent, like I couldn't even understand what they're saying most of the time. I was like, I had to really like focus 100%.
Were you telling them to speak Polish to you?
Yeah, right. Maybe that would be easier.
That's funny.
Imagine being like Japanese and trying to understand like various types of English accents.
Yep, that's so true.
Like Scottish.
Like in my company, for example, like they had teachers from all over, and a lot of the students had like multiple teachers. Like they wouldn't know who their teacher was going to be. You might get someone from Australia, and then the next day you get someone from
So
the US
it
or
changed.
whatever. And
Got you.
yeah, I feel like that'd be confusing.
And they tell you to pronounce things different.
Yeah, right?
Or they even have different words for things too,
Yeah.
you know?
No, 100%.
Very, very true.
Amber, you know, the next thing that comes to my head, like, I know you travel a lot, right? And I remember that you told me that you went to Kenya. Like, how was the life in Kenya? Like, did you like it there? Like, what were, like, weird things or, like, things that you haven't seen before that you saw in Kenya?
I did like Kenya. I went to Kenya to go on a safari, and I had already done that a couple times in South Africa. Kenya definitely felt more third world than South Africa.
Really?
Like, we drove through like the countryside, and there was a lot of poverty that was like really notable. You see that in South Africa too, if you kind of go off the beaten path, but
Yeah.
but more so in Kenya. I will say though, like I was on a tour, so I feel like I wasn't really exposed to like what Kenya was like, but the guide brought us to a Maasai. I saw your episode before where you're talking about like human tourism.
Yeah, the
It made me
human
think
safari.
of like human safari, whatever.
Which,
like,
by the way, that got us banned from TikTok.
Yeah.
But
you
whatever.
serious?
Yeah, it did. Whatever.
We're banned.
Whatever. We made another account. We'll put the link in the description section. Follow us on
So
TikTok.
maybe that's not gonna be a short.
Right? But yeah.
but like our tour guide like insisted on taking us to see a Maasai tribe, and I don't really know how legit it was though.
Are
like,
those the ones with the red clay? Or
they
am I
have,
the
like,
wrong company? That might be like Namibia
the
or somewhere
dung
else.
huts, but they do wear red, I think. Like
Do they?
Yeah, like their robes are
They're red?
red, if I'm not
This
mistaken.
might be a stupid question, but like, was it like how they like you see it on like the videos, like the people were like naked, or like, because I heard that
No.
it wasn't? Okay.
No, I mean the babies.
I mean, yeah,
were,
baby, it does. I
but-
got you.
But no, it was just like it was very uncomfortable, like going to just like meet these people. You know what I mean? Like they were actually very friendly. Like I think they like enjoy the tourism because it brings in money.
It brings in money for them. Exactly right.
Did that feel like to you like it's kind of like a setup?
Yes, 100%. Like it didn't really feel like organic. Like
That
it
I
felt
told
like
that one guy. Shout out to I don't know his name. We'll drop his handle somewhere, but he actually left a comment saying that they pretty much make what they call like poverty porn,
yeah.
and they push that onto people. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. I've never been to Africa. That's one continent I haven't touched yet, so I haven't really seen that.
It was just bizarre because like it almost felt like they didn't actually live there. Like they like showed up
Like
from
it's
work
kind of like a
to
job,
like
right?
yeah, like just to like
What?
they probably did live there, but like it was it was just
Or not.
weird, like the way they like it almost felt like it was their job to just entertain foreigners and show them like they brought us inside their homes and stuff like that, and the homes were just completely barren, like maybe like one pot or whatever. But the craziest thing was like almost every home had like no joke, like 3 or 4 pairs of like expensive sneakers.
What?
They had like one pot and then like 3 or 4 pairs of like pristine, crisp white sneakers like lined up in the doorway of like a dung hut. You know,
yo, like, that's crazy. Yo, it's funny though because
like I guess that's what they're spending all this tourism.
No, bro, no.
Out of all things, you would buy like expensive sneakers. Out of all
dude,
things?
They probably had like iPhones or whatever.
I was gonna say, listen, my dad told me that like on several of his business trips to India, you see people with no shoes on, they got the newest iPhone.
That's crazy, man.
That's crazy though. They had sneakers in the hut. The sneakers maybe cost more than the hut.
Yeah, well, for sure. Yeah. I don't know. I guess that was like their status symbol or something like that. Maybe like whoever has like maybe like the chief had like the newest pair of
that's crazy
sneakers or whatever.
No, but dude, like that like, shit like that is actually.
Yo, Amber, actually, question for you. Like, I'm always curious. Like, how like do they make their own money? Like, is there some type of like, do they charge for something? Like how's it in there? Just like, is there like an entrance fee? Do they like sell something?
Yeah, 100%. Like you pay. They get like a cut of the tour. Okay, the tour guide that brings you gets a cut for bringing tourists there, but I believe they also make their money from just bringing tourists in, but they also like they'll try to sell you things or whatever. My mom actually, they showed us how to make fire with a stick.
Yeah.
And they made it look really easy or whatever. And they're just like, so you want to buy a stick? And we were just like, what? Like buy a stick. And but like they make you feel like so awkward because you know it's the poverty porn. And so my mom kind of got duped into buying a stick, and she was like, all right, yeah, sure, I'll buy the stick. Like, how much? And they were like, well, it's a donation, so whatever you think. And she was like, oh, don't do this to me, please. Like, because she's like really uncomfortable with like, you know, like telling people what their
What would you value that stick at?
Personally?
Yeah.
Like 40 cents? I don't know.
I would say Kenyan stick, at least $2.
Yeah, you're right.
Want to know how much my mom paid for this stick?
$10.
$40.
$40.
$40 for a stick.
Wait, you mean like a 4 and a 0?
$40.
Dude, that's wild.
That's how they buy the Jordans.
Does she have it hung up over her fireplace like some people do with samurai swords?
I was just thinking about this story the other day, and I texted my mom out of the blue. My mom's on vacation right now, and I just texted her out of the blue, like, whatever happened to that stick? And she was like, it broke, the cheap thing.
Oh my God.
So I don't even think it was a particularly
What was she
good
using that
stick.
for?
I don't know. I asked her if she broke it, like, trying to make fire.
She probably tried to demonstrate for someone.
I have a photo of her, like, sitting on the floor in our glamping site or whatever, like, trying to make a fire.
Dude, but
with
I
her
hate
stick.
that, like, when they tell you, like, give as much as you want, or, like, it's a donation, it's, like, almost, like, makes you wanna give like a lot of money. Because
what do you say? I'll give you $1.
Like, you can't do like $1. I mean,
can't
like
do
you
$1.
can, but like
No,
I
you can't.
hate haggling. I don't know. Are you guys good at haggling? I feel like you're good at haggling.
I haggle when I'm in Uzbekistan. No, I know, and I say that because out there,
In what
like,
language? Are
so
you
in Russian,
very
in
often.
Russian.
So very
Okay.
often, right?
here, there. No, but pretty much speaking Russian out there. But like the thing is, like, it's crazy. Someone will pull up in their car because everyone out there in Uzbekistan pretty much works as a taxi. Like you go walk out on the street, literally put your hand out, kind of like you're hitchhiking. I promise you, in the next 3 cars, someone's gonna pull over. You're pretty much gonna have a discourse with them on where you want to go. They're gonna be like this. All right, it's gonna be 10,000 Uzbek som, which is probably gonna be around like $1.20. But you could be like, all right, 70 cents, and they'll come down to like 70 cents, right? No problem. You could probably say 40 cents, it'd come down to 40, but us going over there, I'm not gonna haggle someone for $1. Times are tough, but they're not that tough. You know what I mean? But I'll tell you one thing.
It's like a fine line between like wanting to help people out and also like getting annoyed that you're being completely played or whatever. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to feel like they drive off laughing like what an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
dude, my friend's father in Azerbaijan, I swear to God, he is the king of the bazaar. Meaning, like, he goes there, and they have, like, fruits and vegetables. They have clothes, bro. Everything under the sun they sell at the bazaar. If you've ever been to any of the former Soviet countries, you know what I'm talking about. And he'll go up, and he'll be like this. How much for a bundle of those radishes? And they'll be like this, 25 cents. That'll be, like, the equivalent. He'll be like this. I'll give you 10 cents. And then they'll be like this. 15. Dude, he'll literally walk away and turn around. The people that are always chasing him. Like, no, we'll give you for 10 cents. And I'm like,
That's
dude,
how you gotta do it.
it's so true. You know, like
It's a skill.
you know my Caucasus Mountain hat?
Yeah.
Dude, he negotiated for like 20 minutes. I saw this guy's face getting red. Like him going back and forth with the vendor. I was like, dude, that thing is like, I'm going to hang on to that for the rest of my life.
Dude, speaking of bazaars, like, you guys know Grand Bazaar in Turkey, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I went to Turkey, I was like 3-4 years ago, I went to Grand Bazaar. And when you walk in there, there's like a lot of small stores on the left, on the right, straight ahead, whatever. People over there, they're like, literally speak every single language you can imagine. Like they're going to be like, oh, what language do you speak? And I'm like, oh, Polish. And they're gonna be in Polish, like, oh, buy my watch. And you're gonna say like, I'm Portuguese. Like they're gonna talk to you in Portuguese. Oh, buy my watch. I'm like, what the fuck? Do you know every single language you have?
That's crazy.
Like it was totally ridiculous. And in the stores, you literally had everything. And I was trying to buy like a wallet or something like that. I was like, how much is the wallet? He's like, oh, it's like $20 or whatever. I was like, nah. I was like, all right, it's like 15. I'm like, no, like I'm good. I don't need a wallet. He's like, okay, 10 and it's yours. I was like, no, like I don't need a wallet. He's like, 7, that's the last price. I'm like, all right.
And then you're like, all right, that's a steal. I'll take it.
Yeah.
When I was in Cambodia and I came across like these little kids selling stuff, like little kids, like 5-6 years old, their English was amazing. Like I know that they don't really speak English, but like they speak like salesman English or whatever. And like this one kid was just
They've
like,
been hanging out with Tony.
this one kid was just like buy these postcards, and I was like, it was like a pack of like 20 postcards. I'm like, can I just buy one postcard? And they were like, no, you got to buy them all. And I was like, well, I don't have 20 friends or whatever to send them to.
Oh my God.
And the kid was like, no joke, he looked at me and he was like, I'll be your friend, you send one to me or whatever. And I was
hilarious.
like, I bought him just because I was so impressed with like his sales skills.
Yeah.
And you sent it to him?
Oh my God. No, guys.
Never got his address.
Guys, hold on a second. Like I'm about to go on a quick little rant. Like this is one of the things that drives me nuts. Like you go to like third world countries, you see the small kids, they're working. In America, the people are so goddamn entitled, a lot of them, that like they don't even want to lift a finger. They want everything handed to them. But then you see people in these other countries, they're going to work, busting their ass, and they're getting like $1 or $2 per day. What do you think? Is it not fucking...
I don't know. Honestly, I feel like it's maybe when it comes to like the newer generation.
My man, I've seen people... You think that I'm kidding. I've seen 4-year-old kids hustling.
No, like, I mean,
4 years old, bro.
Because they make better money than their parents, though. Like, who would you rather give your money to? Who's making you feel more sorry for them?
Yeah.
An adult or a 4-year-old
Now
kid
you understand.
That's like, I
now
need
you
money
understand.
For school
No,
or
look,
whatever,
now you understand
know?
what I was talking about with the gypsies and the kids.
No, yeah.
The Romani and the kids.
No, like obviously, like when let's say if you see like a beggar, like you're probably not gonna give him money a lot of times because like you cannot give it to every single one of them. But if you see a one without a kid and the one with the kid or like one with the dog, you're going like, oh shit, like maybe I give them money, like they're in a tough spot.
Dude, how bad was
Tugs
it?
at your
How bad
heartstrings.
was it in the old town square with all the people with the dogs?
Oh my god.
Remember in Prague, they all have the dogs with them, like chilling there on the side.
Like homeless people with dogs?
Yeah, homeless people would just be chilling with like a dog.
I mean, I
You
guess
see that in New York, too, like people using their dogs or their babies or whatever to like try to get...
But in Turkey, when I was in Turkey, like next to Istanbul in like Göktürk, they literally had like strays of dogs everywhere, just randomly walking from the left.
Oh,
from
George
the
is
right.
the same.
20
George is
dogs
the
here,
same.
10 dogs here. It was like crazy. Like there was
What
like
about the cats in Turkey? They love their cats.
They're the best though, dude. In Istanbul, they're everyone. All the people like feed the cats. Dude, I just want to say like I love Turkish, Azerbaijani people. They are the best people on earth, the most hospitable people. They will bend over backwards for you, bro. Like they are literally the best people on earth, bro. And by the way, in Turkey, they have the best tea on earth.
The tea is really good.
I agree on the
Did you
tea.
have the same experience with the people in Turkey?
honestly, like I really enjoy my time in Turkey. I feel like people were really nice a lot of times, but I also was with someone that spoke Turkish and someone that was kind of like our guide. So it was much easier. But obviously, like with the taxi drivers, they were trying to like hassle me every single time.
See, that was my experience. Like, they were nice, but I wasn't sure how, like, genuine it was. You know what I mean? Like, because I felt like they were always, like, trying to get something from me.
Yeah, no, like I remember when
Trying to sell something.
when I had the tour, like a cruise around Bosphor. we got out. It was like a lot of people, so it's like I was thinking, let's get a cab, let's go to the house because it was like way too many people. So we got into the cab. I don't remember the price. I think he said like 300 something like this. I was like no, like I was like it's too much. I was like, not 300 or not, or like you're not going with me. I was like, all right, fuck it. I was like, I gave him 300. It wasn't dollars. It was Turkish lira. Okay. So we got
and that was before it went like.
Yeah, and
like downhill.
We got into the cab. First of all, the guy literally had no seatbelt on. Second of all, he was literally on his phone texting while he was driving, and like he didn't even speak English or anything like that. I was like, yo, what the fuck? Then we get to the house, and I'm asking like the Turkish friend, like, yo, like how much would be the ride from here to here? And they're like, oh, maybe like 120, 140. I was like, fuck it, I only paid twice as much.
Oh my God.
That's what I mean about like you.
No.
You hate to feel like you got played.
Yo,
you know
no one got dogged worse than me in Uzbekistan. When I came over the border from Turkmenistan to Uzbekistan, I've never seen some shit like this. The people were running to me, grabbing my suitcase and trying to pull it to their car. And I was going from one end of the country to the next. And I remember like in one of the taxis I got in, I think at that point I was in like Bukhara. The guy was like this to me, yo, you can't get to the capital city from here without spending $100 for the taxi. And I was like, in my mind, at me being a Westerner, I'm like, all right, look, $100, that blows, but I'm trying to get over there. I have to get there, like it is what it is type thing. And mind you, everything out there is shared taxis. Mm-hmm. So when I sat down in the taxi, there's like 4 or 5 other people in that car with me. And I remember like I was like talking with them, and they were like, yo, how much did you pay for your ticket? Or how much did you pay for your spot, so to speak? And when I told them, they were like, dude, you're kidding me. I paid like $7 maybe.
What?
Yeah, and I'm
you
like,
paid 100?
Yeah, something like that. And then I remember I was like, bro, like you're paying the foreigner tax, you know?
Right. Yeah. I thought I was bad with it twice as much, but like he put like 10 times more, like 12 times more.
But yo, to be fair, it's not something that you would question because I swear to God, it was like a 10-hour taxi.
And
so when I
also,
hear
like,
$100, I'm like, it is what it is type thing.
You don't even have like a reference point or anything
Yeah.
like that. You know what I mean? Like you have
don't.
no clue
You have
what
no
it's
clue.
supposed to
Unless
cost.
you've been there before, like how can you possibly know?
And honestly,
It's
they
very
all
true.
back each other up. They're like, oh yeah, it's totally $100.
And
you know
that's
what I mean?
and that's when you have to haggle, dude. I got so tight because one of the taxis I got in over there, I overpaid as well. And the guy was to me like, hey, listen, he's like, it'll be nice for you. You'll be the only person. I won't pick up anyone else. And he had my suitcase like in his back seat, dude. Like while he's on the road, he's stopping, lowering the window. Hey, you need a ride? Okay, pop in the back seat. Next thing you know, there's 4 people in the back seat with my luggage across their lap, and I'm like, bro.
Oh my God.
I'm like, come on, dude. I'm like, bro, they're hustling out there, bro. You know, they're hustling.
And what are you even gonna do? Like you're gonna tell him like, yo, like kick these people out, and he's gonna be like, no, you're getting out.
Exactly. Exactly, bro.
Leave the suitcase though.
Yeah.
Dude, but by the way, I do just really quickly want to say and give some love to Uzbekistan because that is one of my favorite countries that I've been to thus far because Uzbekistan is just something that's nothing like Europe. Like I remember driving through Uzbekistan, and that's a country with many different types of terrains. Mm-hmm. Like you'll go through you'll see a lot of green, you'll see a lot of brown. They have like ancient structures. They were part of the ancient Silk Road, but it's such a beautiful and unexplored place. And I feel like one of the reasons as to why I really liked it there is because I speak Russian. Because over there, similar to what you were saying about Japan, they just don't really speak English. They speak Russian and Uzbek. And if you go in like the Fergana Valley, they speak like Tajik or in Samarkand. But in general, that's how it is over there. It's definitely an untouched gem, in my opinion, even to this day.
Okay, quick question for you. Knowing where have you traveled, give me your top 5 countries from best to worst. When I give you Georgia, Azerbaijan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and Czech Republic. From your best to worst.
How do you throw Czech Republic in there? That's like the
No. I know.
just because you know he likes it so much?
I know he likes it, and I know it's just different, but it's like nice different, you know?
All right, favorite has to be Azerbaijan. And the reason I say that real quick, let me just say this, is because what I notice about traveling is a lot of the times it's the people you meet when you're there that kind of make the experience for you, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. Because I've been in places like Ukraine, Romania, Moldova, and I was by myself the entire time. And it's just not the same than when you have local friends. And as I was saying before, the Azeri and the Turkish people are pretty much like on top, you know? But I also like I would like it's very hard to rank these in order. Obviously, number 5 would not be a country that I didn't like, but it would have to be for me Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan.
Damn, Uzbekistan before Turkmenistan?
You know what it is? Turkmenistan, as much as I love it, it's just so expensive and inaccessible that I've only been able to visit it for a few days. They make it very expensive to visit Turkmenistan. That's one of like the caveats, I'll call it. So, but Uzbekistan is a place that I've spent like weeks in. I've spent a good amount of time over there. And then I would have to say, will come Georgia. But I love Georgia, but as you guys know, I dealt with a lot of shit when I lived over there.
Yeah.
And a lot of people talk about how like Georgians are like best people on earth. They're amazing people, don't get me wrong. But anywhere you live that's third world, dude, those people, for American people, $300 is not a lot of money. For people in Georgia, that's like big money.
No, of course.
When my friends knew that I was paying like...
Is that like a year's salary?
No, it might be like monthly.
$300 a month?
Yeah, like $300 to $400 a month. And by the way, you're talking about the capital city. When you go out to the smaller towns, it's way less. But my friends over there, I call them friends, people I knew. Going back to what we said about Americans always calling everyone their friends. But there was no, really. But anyway,
You just did.
yeah, literally guilty. But like one of the guys that I knew over there, when he knew that I was paying $400 a month rent, and he saw me buy my girl the iPhone, which at the time was like, I think I paid like around like 5,000 lari. The kid almost had a heart attack. Like for him, that was like crazy money. So it's third world, so to speak. I mean, of course you have luxury everywhere, but when you look at a place like Georgia, dude, like sometimes you don't even have internet. My girl and I had several days without water. And I don't want to make Georgia sound like it's like Afghanistan or something like that, because it's not at all. Georgia is actually probably one of the most beautiful countries on earth in terms of nature and culture in general, period. But it's third world, so obviously it comes with a lot of crap.
Wait, so you said Georgia was third or Turkmenistan was third?
No, Turkmenistan.
Georgia is fourth?
Yeah, I said it was Azerbaijan.
And then Czech Republic is 5th?
No, I said Uzbekistan and Czech Republic. Did I not, or did I miss that one?
I didn't say Czech Republic.
Czech Republic I put right in the middle.
Okay.
So Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan, I would say. Czech Republic, that's like my favorite spot in Europe. Turkmenistan, Georgia.
Okay. I was thinking what else could I put there instead of Czech Republic, but nothing
You actually made that hard, bro. But
You've been to Tajikistan too?
I haven't yet, and
okay.
that's
if he was there, I would put it in.
Did
there.
he hit all the stands you've been to?
I haven't hit all the stands. He did. He hit all the ones that I've been to.
You haven't been to Kazakhstan?
I haven't. I mean, look, when you're in Uzbekistan, like Tashkent, if you look at it geographically speaking, you're literally like on the border with Kazakhstan. You can go right over. I didn't really have so much of an interest at the time to go there as I do now, because I know that they have a lot of really interesting stuff in Kazakhstan as well. But yeah, no, to answer your question, no, I haven't been there. By the way, quick question for you guys, because I know that was kind of the theme of this episode. We were bouncing different questions off each other. What do you guys think, couch surfing or Airbnb?
Airbnb. I used to host couch surfers all the time. I used to do a lot of couch surfing back when I lived in Japan.
Really?
I'm too old for that now.
Like honestly, I can't imagine taking a random person to like sleep on my couch for a night. Like it's not happening.
I had a few bad experiences.
Let's hear. The listeners want to hear these stories.
We want to hear everything.
Well, I had one guy, for example, like he had been living in Saudi Arabia for like 8 years, so like he had basically had no contact with women for like his entire 20s or something like that. And I was like the first woman that he literally flew from Saudi Arabia to Japan. And I was the first person to host him. And it was
I don't know how that works. They give you some kind of money?
I had like a studio apartment. This is very dumb looking back. I never should have hosted someone
Amber's about to be a Monday morning quarterback.
Like, yeah, I feel like I have like 9 lives or something like that.
Wait, just interrupt for 1 second. Did he pay you for that or no?
No. Couch surfing is a free community. Okay. It's meant for backpackers basically, and I had like a blow up air mattress that I like put on.
Okay, so you basically take strangers to your house for free.
Yeah, for free.
Fuck it.
It's like a cultural exchange, though, kind of. That's how I looked at it at the time. I'm still kind of friends with a couple of the people that I hosted.
Oh,
yeah, I'm still in touch with some of them. Like, I had people from all over the world.
Amber,
I probably hosted like 30 people.
30.
Amber, but didn't you once tell me a story like where you had the guy that he didn't want to leave your apartment?
That's this one, the
That's
one
the
I'm
one?
telling you about. Yeah. So I had a date that night, like in another nearby city, and so I told the guy, I was like, I don't know what time I'll be back, but like, you know, like here's a spare key. Again, I sound like an idiot even retelling this. Like, here's a key to my apartment. Yeah, make yourself at home. Whatever, steal it, whatever you want.
all the cash is under the bed if you need it.
Yo, he was straight up probably like sleeping in your bed.
Yeah.
Probably. But he was just like, all right, just make sure you're back by 9. And I like laughed it off. I thought it was a joke or whatever. And then I'm like I'm on this date, and I look down at my phone, and I had like 30 missed calls from this dude.
What?
And I checked my voicemail, and he's like, where are you? It's 9 o'clock. You should be back by now.
Dude.
I'm worried about you. Blah, blah, blah.
That's
Next
crazy.
message. Finally, he tells me he's calling the police. He called the police because I wasn't home yet. And I told the guy I was on a date with, my boyfriend at the time, I was like, I'm not going home tonight. And I ended up sleeping in like an internet cafe the whole
shit.
night. I went back in the morning, and he's just like sitting there waiting for me, like, where were you? And I was like, dude, you gotta go.
Yo, wait a minute. Yo, you know what he probably did?
He was like, I was waiting
No.
for you.
You know what he probably did? He probably tried on all of Amber's underwear and took photos.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Dude,
honestly.
I'm dead.
I was really hoping he'd be gone because he was supposed to leave after one night, and then he informed me when I got back that because we didn't get to spend any time together, he was gonna stay another night. And I was just like,
But letting him sleep at your house overnight is one thing, but letting him stay at your house when you're in there, that's another thing.
I know.
Yeah, you're right.
Again, I'm pretty sure I have like 9 lives or whatever. Like and what made me quit couch surfing actually was I had a guy request to stay with me, and I didn't like his message. Like, he was just like, it was just all about him.
Yeah.
You know, like usually when you request to stay with someone, like you want to say like, oh, I feel like we would get along because I saw your profile and we have this in common. Like, I want to cook you this dish from my country. Like, people do things like that to try to like entice you to want to let them stay with you.
Yeah.
And this guy was just like, I'm a genius, whatever, like doctor, blah blah blah, and like he signed it. P.S. Like, I'm sure you'll be interested to hear all about the new book that I just wrote or whatever. And I was like, forget that guy. Like, I don't want.
You were like, what
I'm
the
like-
heck? That's
and
so
then-
weird.
She's like, I
And
don't
then
read.
so the couch surfing, like, we had a community in Kansai, and we got like a notification that that he had raped the host that he stayed with
What?
in Kyoto. That was after the fact. I was like, that name looks familiar, and I went back through my messages and like, oh my god, he asked to stay with me. And then I was like, I have to quit
You were like, I'm done with
hosting
this.
people. Yeah.
I changed the locks.
Literally.
I literally should have after that guy had my key. I was like, I didn't sleep for like a week. I was like, he maybe he made a copy of the key or
Yeah,
something
imagine she
like
comes
that.
back after work
Like,
one day and he's like sleeping in her bed.
Dude, she was
I
sleeping.
wake up in the middle
She
of
was,
the night.
she was sleeping with one eye open.
But yeah, that really scared me off from it. And I've heard other like horror stories about couch surfing. It's not as like, I feel like it's not as vetted as it should be. Like,
Honestly,
you can get your profile verified or whatever, but like basically just like your friend is like, yeah, this person's legit.
Okay.
You know what I
got
mean?
you,
Like,
yeah.
it's not like you're getting like a police report or something like that to like show that you're not some kind of criminal.
I don't
Yep.
think I would never even like stay at someone else's house, like a random stranger person's house. Like, who knows what can happen? Like, fucking nowadays, people are like crazy.
I've done it, bro. I mean, I've already told.
Which doesn't surprise
Have you
me,
ever
by the
like
way.
hitchhiked in one of those countries that you went to?
Well, dude, I got the fucking Azerbaijan story for you guys. If I start going with these, we're gonna go deep. Long story short, I stayed with a random, and this is why I say the people of Azerbaijan are the best on earth. I stayed in a village in the mountains. I'm talking about the mountain, not like the bullshit ones that we have here, like the Caucasus Mountains I'm talking about. And, dude, they were such beautiful people. I remember when I went to bed, they have in the house what
You
they
sound like Donald Trump. They're such
beautiful people. Yo, they have
Azerbaijani.
that was my Donald Trump impersonation. Yo, they literally had in their house what they call like a pechka or like a little furnace type thing. Dude, they put twigs in it before you go to bed. I swear to God, one eye is open because firstly, I'm scared of the people I'm staying with.
Oh my God.
I'm also looking out the window at the snow coming down, and I was like, that was one of the best sleeps in my life. But moral of the story, I've done it.
Oh my God.
You slept well, even though you were afraid of the people you were.
No, listen,
you
yo,
were
and you know what is crazy? Amber mentioned how like she still kept in contact with some of the people. Like, I still very much keep in contact with those people. In fact, I've even gone back and spent weeks staying at their house. They live, dude. It's Azerbaijan. It's honestly a hidden gem. The tourism infrastructure isn't very well developed, but it really is another gem.
Do you think that it's safer for you as a man, like, to do these types of things?
Honestly, I don't think so.
You think it would be safe for like a solo female traveler to like?
Look, I
stay
definitely
with a
think that
stranger?
solo female travelers definitely have like something else to worry about just because guys are such creeps nowadays. It's not even funny, especially if you're out like after dark. Like how many times you hear about people getting like their drink roofied and next thing you know they wake up in the forest naked or something like this, you know? So
You have like a lot of stories.
Was that a personal story?
no, it was another one of the
I
questions.
never heard this one.
No, it was another one of the questions that
That's
we were
the
talking
next
about.
episode.
But even like in
Stay
Egypt,
tuned, by the way.
In Egypt, I heard a lot of different stories when like solo female travelers were like kidnapped or like something happened to them like in like Africa
I feel
or
like there's
Arabic
certain
countries.
countries you would have to worry about more.
Isn't that crazy, dude?
That's why I went to Japan though, because it was like the safest. I mean, I had a lot of interest in Japan too, but it was like the safest place to be alone as like a 20-year-old woman.
I believe that. I believe it's very
There's like
safe
no
over there.
crime basically,
No
especially
crime.
violent crime.
It's crazy.
And I lived in like the most dangerous neighborhood in Osaka. It was hilarious because like my students would be like, "Where do you live?" And I'd be like, "Juso," and they're like, "Juso, are you okay?"
They were like, she lives in the Bronx.
I'm like, this is like way nicer than where I'm from, you know?
Yeah. And I say this all the time. New York is oftentimes like a third world country, especially now with all the stuff that's going on over there.
And probably they thought it was like a dangerous region because like someone stole a bike like 10 years ago.
Yeah, literally.
I did there are a couple like little sketchy things in Juso. Like I think there were a lot of prostitutes living around there, so occasionally like a man would come up to me like and think that I was a prostitute because there are a lot of Russian prostitutes there, and I guess for them I look Russian.
You serious?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
They got the Russians out there in Japan too? They've expanded everywhere.
Now he wants to go.
Dude, one time this guy started chasing me and yelling at me in Russian, and then I turned around and he was like, "Oh, sorry," or whatever. Like I was wondering if he thought I was like an escaped prostitute or
Dude,
something.
imagine.
Like that.
All right, well, listen, guys. I think we're going to wrap up. I had an awesome conversation with you guys. I'm sure we're going to have Amber back on the pod at some point in time. But if you guys haven't already subscribed to the channel, take care of that right now. We're right about to hit 1,000 subscribers. I think that by the time this episode drops, we'll already even be there.
I hope so, man. I really hope so.
I certainly think so. And yeah, guys, like I said, look out for us on TikTok again. We just got back on there. You guys want to add anything in final?
I just wanted to thank you so much, Amber, for being here. I think it was a great episode. Thank you for sharing all the stories. It was very nice to have you here,
Thanks for having me. Don't think I'm an idiot with the couch stories. I've grown up a lot since then.
Hit the like button. Leave a comment, guys. See you all next time.
Thank you so much, guys.
Take care.
Thank you.